We're grateful that you join us for the ChannelOne newsroom on ChannelOne television. I am Umaru Sanda Amado. We start off with Chairman Wontumi, who has been in the news all week, and the arrest and bail conditions of the Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Bossiako, that's his real name, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, have ignited a nationwide debate. Speaking on the big issue on ChannelOne television, law professor Kojo Epieje-Tua criticized the arrest as excessive and flagged potential human rights violations, although he conceded that the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, acted within the bounds of the law during the bail process. There's more in the following report by Elizabeth Kabokin Okansi.
Chairman Wontumi was initially apprehended by the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service before being transferred to EOCO. On Friday, report of his possible handover to the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, sparked protests from MPP supporters. In response, former party flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia visited the NIB, but officials there denied holding Wontumi in custody. Earlier, the minority members of parliament staged a protest at EOCO's premises, demanding his release on self-recognizance. They argued that his public profile and low flight risks justify more lenient bail conditions. Commenting on the big issue, University of Ghana law lecturer Professor Kojo Epieje-Tua condemned the nature of the arrest, describing it as heavy-handed and possibly in breach of Wontumi's human rights.
From that angle, I see a situation where you can talk about some possible rights violations against Mr. Bossiako, because the so-called Rambo-style approach, which was used to ambush him in the middle of the road and so on, to take him to EOCO, excuse me, was not justified. It wasn't necessary for EOCO to have done that, because previously he himself had accepted an invitation to come to the CRD and so on.
Professor Epieje further clarified that, despite the questionable arrest procedure, EOCO's approach to bail adhere to legal standards. Meanwhile, Efia MP Isaac Boamanyako criticized the 15 million Ghana cedis bail condition.
I believe that if Wontumi had been taken to court on Wednesday, if EOCO, having arrested him, and before they would have arrested him, they should have been seized with some preliminary information that was good enough to at least present the person before the court and either ask for him to be remanded or grant him the bail. And then if the court has placed the bail, I don't think anybody in Ghana, including us as lawyers and of the minority, would have marched to the Court of Appeal or to High Court and say that we are demonstrating or we are picketing because the court have placed a bail of 50 million on check.
However, NDC communication team member Hamza Suhuni dismissed claims that Wontumi's arrest was conducted in a Rambo style. He defended EOCO's authority, asserting that law enforcement agencies must be allowed to perform their duty without public interferences.
We cannot sit here and determine the methodology to adopt, whether to go by a warrant or to arrest without a warrant for EOCO to go by, because they have been the ones carrying out those investigations. I am told for about 2 weeks now, they have been trailing him. What the CID did was not in any way connected to that of the EOCO investigations. Remember,
security analyst Richard Kumedo also voiced concerns, warning that growing political interference is compromising the effectiveness of law enforcement and intelligence agencies.
We are jamming up the public space so much that it's making a mess of everybody, and the politicians are making a mess of themselves, and they want to carry their own mess into the law enforcement agencies and let it look as if the people there don't know what they are doing. And that must be stopped, and it must be stopped seriously. And go ahead with their disinformation and misinformation and create problems for people who man National Security Secretariat Council institutions. We are well informed, we are well educated, we've traveled the world, we've seen the way it is being done.
As the legal battle continues, the case has become a flashpoint for larger debate about political accountability, rule of law, and the independence of Ghana legal and security institution. Reporting for Channel One News, I am Elizabeth Kabuki Okanti.